You spend your life surrounded by people, family, friends, colleagues, romantic partners, and somewhere in all that proximity, you assume something fundamental, that they respect you. But here's a question you rarely ask directly. Do they? Really? Not whether they like you, not whether they're nice to you, not whether they show up when it's convenient, but whether they actually respect you. Most of us confuse respect with affection. We think someone respects us because they smile when we enter the room, because they ask how we're doing, because they remember our birthday. But Immanuel Kant, the 18th century German philosopher who spent his entire life thinking about morality and human dignity, would tell you that respect is something else entirely. Respect, according to Kant, isn't a feeling, it's a recognition of your dignity as a rational being. And dignity, Kant insisted, is absolute. It's not something you earn through achievement. It's not something you lose through failure. It's not negotiable, tradable, or conditional. Dignity simply is. You have it because you exist as a conscious, choosing being. And when someone respects you, they recognize that dignity. They treat you not as a tool for their purposes, not as a means to their ends, but as an end in yourself, as someone whose autonomy, whose choices, whose inner life matters intrinsically. But how do you know? How do you tell if someone truly sees your dignity, or if they're just performing the social rituals of respect while fundamentally treating you as expendable? Kant gave us a framework, not a checklist exactly, but a way of seeing. 8 signs, 8 patterns of behavior that reveal whether someone respects you in the deepest, most Kantian sense of the word. And fair warning, some of these signs might make you uncomfortable, because once you start seeing them, you can't unsee them. You'll start noticing not just who respects you, but who doesn't. And maybe, more disturbingly, you'll start noticing how often you fail to respect others, or yourself. So, let's begin. The first sign: they ask for your consent, not your forgiveness. Think about the last time someone made a decision that affected you without asking. Maybe a partner who made plans for both of you without checking your schedule. Maybe a parent who threw away your belongings because they thought you didn't need them anymore. Maybe a friend who shared something private about you because they thought it would be fine. And then, when you objected, they said, "I'm sorry, I thought I was helping. I thought you'd be okay with it." Kant would say, that's not respect, that's paternalism. Because respect means recognizing your capacity for rational choice. It means understanding that you, not them, are the authority on your own life. When someone respects you, they don't make decisions for you, then apologize later. They don't operate on the assumption that they know better. They don't treat your autonomy as optional. They ask first, even when they're certain you'll say yes, even when asking is inconvenient. Because the asking itself is the respect, the recognition that you have the right to say no. The second sign: they don't need you to be useful. Kant drew a distinction that most of us overlook. He said, some things have price. They can be exchanged, replaced, valued based on what they offer. But dignity has no price. Dignity is beyond exchange. When someone respects you, your value to them doesn't fluctuate based on what you can provide. They don't disappear when you're going through a hard time and can't offer your usual energy. They don't calculate whether the relationship is worth it based on some cost-benefit analysis. They're interested in you, not in what you do for them. You can test this, actually. Notice who stays when you have nothing to offer, who calls when you're depleted, depressed, struggling, who shows up not because they need something, but because you exist, and that's enough. Kant would say, those are the people who see your dignity. Everyone else is just negotiating price. The third sign: they disagree without diminishing. Here's something strange about respect. It doesn't require agreement. In fact,
Kant would argue that the ability to disagree while maintaining respect is one of the highest forms of human interaction. When someone respects you, they can think you're completely wrong about something and still treat your perspective as worth taking seriously. They don't resort to personal attacks when challenging your ideas. They don't dismiss your reasoning as emotional, naive, or corrupt. They engage with your arguments on their own terms because they recognize that you, like them, arrived at your conclusions through reason, experience, reflection. You might be mistaken, sure, but your capacity for rational thought itself is never in question. Pay attention to how people argue with you. Do they attack the idea, or do they attack your ability to have ideas? Do they say, "I think you're wrong because," or do they say, "You only think that because you're"? The second version, that's not respect, that's reduction. It's treating you not as a rational agent, but as a product of forces beyond your control. Emotions, biases, ignorance. It's denying your dignity as a thinking being.
The fourth sign? They tell you hard truths, even when it's uncomfortable. This one might surprise you. You'd think respect means being gentle, considerate, careful with your feelings, and sometimes it does. But Kant had a radical position on lying. He believed it was always wrong, not because lies hurt feelings, but because lying denies someone's rationality. When you lie to someone, you remove their ability to make informed choices. You're essentially saying, "I don't trust you to handle reality. I'll decide what truth you can bear." And that, according to Kant, is profoundly disrespectful. So when someone respects you, they tell you things you might not want to hear. They give you feedback that stings. They don't shield you from difficult information for your own good, because they trust your capacity to face reality and decide for yourself how to respond. Now, this doesn't mean being cruel or brutal. Respect can be gentle, but it's honest. It doesn't confuse protection with respect. Think about who in your life tells you the truth, even when it's awkward, even when it risks conflict. Those people respect you. The ones who constantly spare your feelings, who tell you what you want to hear, who hide information because they've decided you're too fragile, they might care about you, but they don't respect you. The fifth sign? They don't negotiate your boundaries. Kant's categorical imperative, the foundation of his moral philosophy, can be simplified like this. Treat people according to rules that could work universally. Don't make exceptions for yourself. Applied to boundaries, this means when you say no, that should be the end of the conversation, not the beginning of a negotiation, not an invitation to persuade, bargain, or guilt, just the end. When someone respects you, they don't test your limits. They don't push to see how firm your no really is. They don't ask, "But why?" as if you owe them a justification for your own choices. They don't say, "Just this once," after you've already declined. They accept your autonomy over your own life. Your boundaries aren't obstacles to overcome. They're information about who you are and what you need. And respect means honoring that information, even when it's inconvenient. You know who doesn't respect you? The person who hears your no as a negotiating position. The sixth sign. They keep promises even when it costs them. Kant was obsessed with promises. He used them as a test case for his moral framework. He asked, what if everyone broke promises whenever it suited them? The entire concept would collapse. Trust would be impossible. Society would disintegrate. So keeping promises for Kant wasn't just about being a good person. It was about respecting the autonomy of others. When you make a promise, you're giving someone information they use to make decisions. You're shaping their expectations, their plans, their reality. Breaking that promise because something better came up, because you're tired, because you just don't feel like it anymore, treats the other person as disposable, as less important than your convenience. When someone respects you, they honor their commitments, even when it's hard, even when they'd rather be somewhere else, even when no one would know if they bailed. Not because they're people pleasers or martyrs, but because they understand that reliability is part of dignity, that treating you as an end in yourself means not casually discarding the agreements that structure your shared reality. Notice who cancels plans at the last minute, who makes promises easily and breaks them just as easily, who treats commitments to you as optional but expects you to honor commitments to them. Those people don't respect you. They might like you, but they see you as flexible, as accommodating, as someone whose time and expectations can be rearranged at will. The seventh sign: they don't perform kindness publicly. Here's where Kant gets psychologically interesting. He distinguished between actions done from duty, from respect for moral law, and actions done from inclination, from feeling, from desire for reward. And he said, controversially, that only the first kind has true moral worth. Why? Because acting kindly to feel good about yourself, to get praise, to build your reputation, that's still using morality as a means to your ends. It's still fundamentally self-interested. Applied to respect, when someone respects you, they don't turn their kindness into a performance. They don't help you in ways that require an audience. They don't broadcast their generosity to mutual friends. They don't post about how much they support you. They just do things, quietly, without expectation of applause. Because the action itself, the recognition of your dignity, is the point, not the social capital they gain from being seen as a good person. Pay attention to who helps you when no one's watching, who does small, unglamorous things that no one will ever know about, who supports you in ways that can't be converted into likes, shares, or admiration. That's respect. Everything else might be performance.
The eighth sign: they admit when they've used you. This is the hardest one, both to do and to recognize. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. We all use each other sometimes. We all, at moments, treat people as means rather than ends. We ask for favors. We lean on others' skills. We pursue relationships that benefit us. The question isn't whether you've ever been used. You have. We all have. The question is, do the people in your life recognize when they've done it? Kant would say true respect includes the humility to acknowledge when you've failed to live up to your own principles, when you've instrumentalized someone, when you've prioritized your needs over their autonomy. When someone respects you, they don't rationalize these moments away. They don't say, but I had good intentions, or you're being too sensitive, or that's not what happened. They sit with the discomfort of having treated you as a tool. They name it. They apologize without expecting immediate forgiveness. They take responsibility for the gap between their values and their actions. Most people can't do this. It's too threatening to their self-image, so they defend, deflect, rewrite history. They'd rather preserve their sense of being a good person than acknowledge a moment of disrespect. But real respect, Kantian respect, includes self-awareness, the ability to see yourself clearly, even when what you see is uncomfortable. So here's a question worth sitting with. Have you ever admitted to someone that you used them, that you treated them as a means to your ends? Think about it. And if you have, or if you haven't, leave it in the comments. Let's be honest together about how hard this actually is. So, now you know the signs. You know what Kant would say to look for. 8 patterns of behavior that reveal whether someone truly recognizes your dignity or whether they're just navigating social scripts while fundamentally seeing you as instrumental. But here's what happens next, the part no one tells you. Once you start seeing these patterns, you can't stop. You start noticing who asks for consent and who asks for forgiveness, who stays when you're useless and who only appears when you have something to offer, who keeps promises and who treats your time as infinitely flexible. You start keeping score, and the numbers might surprise you. People you thought respected you, people you've known for years, people you've sacrificed for, might fail every single test, while someone you barely know, someone peripheral to your life, might consistently treat you with a dignity you didn't even realize you'd been missing. And then comes the harder recognition, the one Kant would insist on. Because these 8 signs, they apply to you too. When was the last time you made a decision for someone else without asking? When was the last time you valued someone primarily for what they provide? When was the last time you dismissed someone's argument by psychoanalyzing their motives instead of engaging their reasoning? When was the last time you lied to someone for their own good, pushed past a boundary because you were sure they didn't really mean it, broke a promise because something better came up? When was the last time you performed your kindness publicly while failing to show up privately? When was the last time you used someone and admitted it? Kant's philosophy is ruthless in its consistency. If dignity is absolute, if the categorical imperative is truly categorical, then it applies universally to everyone, including you, including your treatment of yourself. And that's where this gets existentially uncomfortable. Because here's what Kant would ask you. Do you respect yourself? Not do you like yourself, not do you feel confident, but do you treat yourself as an end in yourself or as a means to other people's ends? Do you make decisions based on what you genuinely want or based on what will make others approve of you? Do you honor your own boundaries, or do you constantly negotiate with yourself, pushing past your limits because someone else's needs feel more important? Do you tell yourself hard truths, or do you lie to yourself about what you're doing, why you're doing it, what you're actually feeling? Do you keep promises to yourself, or are you the first person you betray when something more appealing comes along? Kant believed self-respect, what he called proper self-esteem, was the foundation of all moral life. You can't genuinely respect others if you don't respect yourself, because if you don't recognize your own dignity, you can't consistently recognize anyone else's. You'll either inflate yourself, treating your needs as more important than everyone else's, or you'll collapse yourself, treating everyone else's needs as more important than your own. Both are failures of respect. Both treat dignity as negotiable. So maybe the real question isn't who respects me? Maybe the question is, who do I respect? And maybe more uncomfortably, do I treat myself the way I'd want others to treat me? Kant spent his life trying to answer one question. What does it mean to be human? Not biologically, not socially, but morally. What makes a human being valuable? What grounds our worth? And his answer was radical for his time, and still radical now. He said, rationality and autonomy, the capacity to think for yourself, to choose for yourself, to live according to principles you've examined and endorsed. That capacity, that dignity, is what makes you irreducible, what makes you more than just a collection of preferences, needs, biological drives, what makes you someone who matters, intrinsically, regardless of what you produce or provide. But dignity isn't passive. It's not something you just have. It's something you recognize in yourself, in others, and that recognition changes how you move through the world. When you see dignity, you can't treat people as disposable. You can't lie to them, manipulate them, ignore their autonomy. You can't make yourself an exception to rules you'd want everyone else to follow. And you can't demand respect while withholding it, not from others, not from yourself. So here you are. You have 8 signs now, 8 ways to see who truly respects you, 8 mirrors showing you where you might be failing to respect others. What you do with that information is up to you. You could use it to cut people out, to build walls, to become hyper-vigilant about every slight, every failure of recognition. You could turn respect into a weapon, something you withhold until people prove themselves worthy. But that's not what Kant would suggest, because respect, in his framework, isn't something you give to people who deserve it. It's something you give to people because they exist, because they're rational beings navigating this strange, difficult, often painful reality, just like you. Respect is recognition, and recognition is a choice, a daily, difficult, unglamorous choice to see the dignity in another person, even when they're annoying, even when they're wrong, even when respecting them costs you something. But it starts with seeing it in yourself, with treating yourself as an end, not a means, with honoring your own autonomy, your own boundaries, your own capacity for rational choice, with looking in the mirror and asking, do I respect the person I see there? Because until you can answer yes to that question, genuinely, consistently, without qualification, you can't really answer it about anyone else.